Personal Loan Agreement. Clause 1. Definitions. Bank, Doha Bank, QSC, located in the state of Qatar, its successors and assignees. Client, the borrowers who availed the loan and his successors. Agreement, the client details, undertakings, terms and conditions and other related documents. Interest rate, the interest rate agreed upon with the client and any changes thereto. Clause 2. Bank's obligations. To grant the loan amount to the client after confirmation of all terms and conditions required by the bank. Clause 3. Client's obligation. The client's obligations include but are not limited to 1. Repay the loan and any interest, commissions, fees, and expenses in monthly installments on its maturity dates, and the bank shall have the right at any time without notification to debit the installment amount from any of the client's opened accounts with the bank. 2. The interest shall be calculated on daily basis added to the debit balance at the end of each Gregorian month and debited from the client's accounts, and the client hereby acknowledge the authority of the bank to change the interest rate at any time during the loan period, and the new rate decided by the bank shall be binding upon the client effective from the amendment date. Three, the client has no right to transfer his salary from the bank settling his obligations, direct and indirect, related to this agreement or to any other agreement with the bank. Four, the client hereby undertakes to provide a guarantor at any time within the loan period if so required by the bank. Clause 4. General provisions. 1. The bank has the right to change or amend the provisions of this contract without referring to the client. 2. This guarantee is binding upon client on inheritance and successors. 3. In case of the client's full or partial settlement of the loan or its outstanding balance before maturity date, the bank shall be entitled for any early settlement percentage, decided by the bank from time to time. 4. This agreed settlement period of this loan is binding to the client, and any pardon given by the bank to extend this period shall not affect the enforceability and validity of other terms and conditions of this agreement against client. Five. The client hereby irrevocably authorizes the bank to debit his account with all costs, charges, expenditures, and expenses of any type, paid directly or indirectly by the bank as a result of the loan. Such payment shall include, without limitation or specification, legal expenses, charges, and retaining fees, in addition to post, telephone, telegram, and currency difference regardless of the amount, and even if the court did not issue a judgment in this regard. This is in addition to any other expenses paid by the bank in relation to this agreement. Six, the bank has the right at any time and without advising or notifying the client to merge or consolidate all the existing accounts and arrange a set-off amongst the balances of such accounts to settle any dues the client may be committed to pay. 7. The bank has the right to collect additional interest on past dues based on the current interest rate, plus any other charges, fees, expenses, and commissions decided by the bank. 8. In case of delay on part of the client to repay any of the installments on its due dates, or client's violation or breach of the terms or condition of any other contract whereby client has availed credit facilities from the bank, or where any penal or civil legal procedures is initiated against the client by a third party, or the occurrence of any incident deemed by the bank as sufficient proof of customer's inability to meet his liabilities. The terms of the balance amount of this loan shall become null and void, and the whole amount of the loan becomes payable with immediate effect after deducting the amounts of the settled part. Nine. In case the debt matures for any reason, the customer undertakes to pay to the bank the value of the due debt, including the interest, fees, and commission up to the maturity date of the debt. The interest mentioned in this agreement shall continue to be calculated from the due date until full settlement, and the interest shall continue to be calculated even if a lawsuit is filed by the bank or the customer or others. It has been agreed that the maturity of the debt shall not nullify or terminate this agreement, as the terms and conditions of this agreement shall remain valid and enforceable until full settlement of the due indebtedness and its related interest, commissions, expenses, and any other fees. The borrower acknowledges that he is aware of the nature of this loan, since it's a transaction that is subject to the provisions of trade law and QCB law, and that he is also aware of the results arising from this, including the calculation of the agreed-upon interest rate and the bank's right to revise this rate according to the applicable rate at its end, and that the bank has the right to apply the proofing or evidence provisions relating to the commercial issues. 12. The amicable compensation for the bank in case the customer breaches any of the provisions of this agreement to be estimated by the interest rate applied on this loan from the date of the breaching the agreement by the customer until the full settlement. 13. The account statement issued by the bank which shows the outstanding balance of the customer at any time shall be liable to the customer. The non-objection of the customer on the same within a period of 15 days from the date of dispatching such statement shall be considered as a full consent of its content by the customer, and as a final approval for the entries or balances mentioned in the statement, and as a waiver of any objection on any entries or balances related to his accounts at the bank for any reason. 14. Notices or advices shall be sent by post, fax, or any other means to either party on his address mentioned in this agreement. 15. This agreement is governed by laws of the State of Qatar, and the Qatari courts shall be competent to settle any dispute arising between the bank and the client. 16. The client has approved the Arabic version of this agreement. Moreover, accept that it is the right translation for the copy in English, and in case of any discrepancy between the two languages exist, the Arabic language shall prevail.